Welcome to the OVAReact podcast, proudly sponsored by Johnny Walker, a bold flavor for those who take bold steps. To be enjoyed in moderation and drink responsibly, not to be sold for persons under the age of 18.
In a society that likes to put women in a box.
Let's overreact, and boldly today, 4 women in the house talking about money. That's a bold conversation.
Money.
Yes, it's a girl, Momo Hoya. I'm feeling bold.
Yeah.
Because I've done some bold steps. I've walked truly in my, purpose.
I love it.
Yeah.
It's your girl, Lush Angela, and I look forward to sharing how money is working for me. It's the ladder that I am using, or rather, it's using me as the ladder
In this economy.
And I'm Angela Wamboy, and I'm feeling bold because I know that each of us as women have the power to multiply the money that's in our pockets.
Say it.
Yes.
Amazing.
And today we're talking, as Mo had alluded, we're talking about money and financial empowerment, and we have with us Valentine Njoroge, the co-founder of Africa's Pocket, and I want to welcome you to the studio, and maybe you can share how you're feeling bold today.
I'm feeling bold because I'm an African woman wearing African print, and we're about to build some generational African wealth.
Ooh,
Say it, don't break it, drop mic.
Yes. I think we're the generation that is going to boldly reframe the conversation of money. Mm-hmm. Like, wealth is not masculine anymore. And as Angie said, that power we have as women to multiply, you said it, we are going to be creating generational wealth.
I think let's start on a bold step. So what are the bold money moves you want to make in 2024, or you've made this year, or you've made in the past, that can encourage someone else to follow suit?
For me, it's the money principle. Income, saving, spending, investment has changed my life, and the budget rule around like spending 50% to my needs, my wants, and then saving. Grew up in a household where money was, my guka, my dad, everyone made the decision, and I didn't see women actually being involved in that conversation. So being in charge of my money, it's like both moves. I want to go to, say, Cape Town. I pay for myself without asking, for a man to just do that for me. And I think that's bold. That's something that I've done this year, and I'm very proud of myself.
Love it.
I think, unlike Mo, I did have the opportunity to be surrounded around a lot of female entrepreneurs. And so I think also anyone that knows me knows I'm a woman of many, many hats. So I really, in 2024, I hope to really, tighten up my shoelaces when it comes to investing in business and, just multiplying the businesses, because as this economy has taught us, you can't.
You want to multiply more than what you already have.
Well, I just want to be more intentional about investing in other businesses, because as we all know, you can't put all your eggs in one basket. Mm-hmm. COVID showed us that, this economy has showed us that. So making sure that I have a diversified portfolio when it comes to the businesses that I'm investing in.
And we have the right guest for that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. What are the bold money moves you've done
that I've made? So I think the boldest money move I typically make is every year just reviewing my money, seeing where I'm spending, what I'm spending on, what I've invested in, and how it's actually performing. Because I think this is bold because it's scary to really look at these numbers. Mm-hmm. And I think it's bold because it helps you be realistic, be not delusional, and actually make moves that make sense for you.
I think for me, it's having separate accounts and being intentional about saving for a rainy day, and there have been many rainy days because this is that year. I think that's something that I'm really proud that I've done, and learning to just have, this is the account for spending, Ikisha, Tajipanga. in a sink.
Yeah. Just the other day I was just reviewing my financial journal, and I didn't know about sinking fund and emergency fund. Mm-hmm. So it's good to know that you've been doing that, girl.
Yeah. So I'm excited to make that the savings and the separate account, and then now I want to, and that's why I'm looking forward to this conversation, is, as Angela was saying, how to have these different portfolios of how you invest, make your money work for you, right?
Yes. Yeah. And off here we were talking about how we are the generation to create generational wealth as black Kenyan women, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Because we've seen wealth very old manish, white men. So you have founded an amazing organization, Africa's Pocket.
Yeah.
Let us know, like, what led into that journey, like what inspired you, and what's the mission behind it?
I love this question. It's my favorite question to answer.
Yay!
So the inspiration really came from a question that I've heard so many times. It's like, where do I start with my money? What do I do first? Do I budget first? Do I invest first? Where do I start? And then it's underpinned by a statistic that really breaks my heart. So right now in Kenya, about 80% of people retire poor.
Wow.
And 80%.
And what is considered poor? Like, what is that benchmark?
Like, you cannot afford your basic needs. So just to give you some numbers, when you get your money from NSSF, when you retire, the average payout is 250,000 Kenya shillings in total. You're supposed to live on this money for 20 years. It's insane. So
Wow.
my own shosho gets about 8K a month. Thankfully, she has like other sources of income that kind of, help her do her things.
8K will cover what?
Nothing, literally nothing. You can't even buy food, right? It's not enough. So that's why you find a situation where you're having to support that next generation. That's why black tax exists. And so when I think about a future where we are successful, it's one where we are able to retire comfortably ourselves and even leave something for the next generation so we can break this cycle. Because when you're having to support the generation above you, it means that your own needs take, a back seat. So that's the mission for us. And it's just kind of helping people figure out, how do you get there? How do you get to a comfortable retirement and also enjoy life along the way? And by answering that question, where do I start?
And how did Val find herself in this space of money, where you always, how people say, if they are singer, they're like, I started singing when I was 3. Did you ask for a cash register to play with when you were 5? Instead of a Barbie doll?
No, I kind of, but not really. So I've grown up around entrepreneurs. I come from 3 generations of entrepreneurs.
Yeah.
So my great-grandmother, my grandmother, my mom are all female entrepreneurs. And my mom used to have a hardware shop. And I used to be like her cashier from when I was, those ages, 8-ish, 9-ish. So I was also very interested in money from a young age. But career-wise, I found myself in this space, in finance in New York. I saw what we were doing to help very wealthy people manage their money. And coming back home, it's like, why can't we do this for ourselves?
Yeah.
So that's how I found myself in this space.
I love that. A diasporan coming back home to bring resources to help build up the community. And you mentioned entrepreneurship. There's a lot of aspiring entrepreneurs that are tuned in, people that are currently in business. What are some of the biggest do's and don'ts when it comes to investing in business?
Oh, there's so many. So I think the first one is I'll think about it from the perspective of your own business. I'll say the number one rule is separate your personal from your business. Think about your business as a different entity, as something that's here to serve you. I think a lot of the times when we're talking about business, people romanticize it and they feel almost like you have to sacrifice for so long because of this magical payout at the end. But what I say is, let your business serve you from day one. Whether that means it's paying for your salary, paying you some benefits, it's helping you be in a space that you're passionate about or whatever. So let it serve you from day one. And then keep your business accountable. So once you've figured out what it is that it's supposed to do for you, then make sure that you're tracking every week, every month, every quarter, if you're going closer to that goal or not. So that you're not in this space where you're just waiting one day for it to pop off and you don't know when the day is and you don't know how you're doing towards that goal.
Yeah.
I think that's
powerful.
the biggest thing.
Yeah. I think there's someone who mentioned in our previous episodes that mostly women entrepreneurs, we tend to have a bedroom affair with our businesses. And we kind of hold on to the idea, you don't want to share it because you feel like someone is going to, take it away from you. Yet you don't want to explore the opportunities that exist out there that could actually multiply what you're trying to build. That could be a product, a service, or whatever. So let's talk about the mindset behind money making and how we've been socialized as women. How do you go into that conversation with Africa's Pocket, or in conversations that you had in either workshops or events? in that conversation. Yeah.
From a mindset perspective, I find that analogy so interesting. Like, we treat our businesses like a bedroom affair. I think that's true, because women are not bold when it comes to like business moves. You'll see a man agreeing to do a deal and he has no idea.
I see.
No idea. Actually, yesterday I was in a conversation with somebody who was like, next year I'm going to buy a house. I think that house is like 20 million shillings. I'm like, where's the money? He's like, I'll find it, don't worry. He's like, in fact, what I need is just to get into the room. And I said, okay.
Yeah.
Whereas for us, even in the context of business, before you start a business, you're like, I need to understand how I'm going to find the first customer, where the thing is coming from, the money to buy the first shipment, etc., etc. And I think I would say if you're going to go into business, it is, you do need to take a few risks. And as women, we have that advantage that because we are naturally a bit more risk averse than a man, you will be more careful, and actually therefore more businesses led by women are successful as a result of that.
Calculated moves.
Yeah, calculated moves. But I think we need to mix a bit. You need to have both.
Yeah.
I think some of the things like people lack. The way you've just talked about man wanting to take a risk and all that stuff. But I feel like the reason why we hesitate is like maybe the understanding of the financial literacy around what is savings, what is investment, what is a good investment, what is a bad investment. Understanding that, like, there's an example I had of someone who gives all her money to the husband and is left with nothing. They're not in this country. The husband is in this country. The wife is not in this country. So I'm like, so now the lady was advising this person who pays her, teach this person to put money aside. It's her money. She's not stealing from anybody.
Yeah.
For as what I've been doing for rainy times, right? There are unexpected emergencies. So like, I know that within, let's talk a little bit about Africa's Pocket. I know that within it, like, there's courses that people can sign up to. What are some of the things that you teach? Like, what are the 3 tips, like must-dos when it comes to financial understanding that people need to be better at, even if it's from entrepreneurship point of view or a savings point of view, investment point of view, those kind of things?
Good question. First, that story is so heartbreaking.
Yes, everything. She gives everything. And this person also ends up having to still top up because the money, this person, the husband, doesn't use the money to pay for the school fees, so still tops up. And it's a case for so many.
It's financial abuse.
Yeah, it really is. Yeah. And the sad thing is, these stories are so prevalent, so prevalent. And I'm proud that a lot of our customers are women. About 90% of our customers are women. Which
that's
I love.
Good. That's good.
Very progressive.
Yeah.
Like that.
Yeah. And I think that for me, the literacy part of our business, because we have our courses and we have our investment platform. The courses for me are about gaining confidence and understanding what's possible for you, so you don't end up in a situation like that. Because I bet that a part of like the reason why she's sending the money to this man is because she was told it's a man's job to take care of the money. That stuff is not for you. It's too complicated. And the thing is, because
Girl.
Sorry, can never be me.
It's touched me.
You're told, that one, leave to him. But the thing is, it's not complicated. It's just that we're not taught about it. So it's just, you learn personal finance the same way you learn maths, right? And for us, the courses are really just about giving you that confidence. So when I think about what does it take to be confident in your personal finances, we have 3 pillars that we think of.
Okay.
The first one is your income. What's your plan to make money? And a lot of people think about income as something that is, you're told this is your salary and then you accept. But you can actually have a strategy around how much money you make every year. You can give yourself targets and you can have a plan to achieve those numbers. So we help you think about that.
I like that.
Then the second thing is your expenses. And every time we talk about expenses, people think it's about reducing your expenses. But I like to think about it more like optimizing. So you decide what you like to spend money on and what you don't like spending money on, and then you do that intentionally. You talked about intention earlier.
Yes.
So like I love spending money on travel, I love spending money on food and like experiences like that, but I hate fees. So I'm the kind of person who will pay an Uber 200 bob in 100 bob transactions, so I pay 0 fees.
Oh,
And then I'll spend like $1,000 on a trip. You know, it doesn't need to make sense, right? But it's about being intentional. So we teach you how to think about your money in that way, because expenses come with a lot of guilt, a lot of shame, a lot of I should do this, I should do that. Yeah. But we just empower you to think about it in a way that makes sense for you.
wow.
And then the third pillar is investments. So investments are about growth. And a lot of people think that when you take your money and you save it in a money market fund, then you withdraw it in 6 months, you've invested, but you haven't. What you've done is you've just saved for an expense, right? You actually haven't grown anything. Yeah. So we help you think about how do you invest for real so that you can actually get to a situation where you're no longer having to work for the money you spend.
The money is using you as the ladder.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly.
Very interesting. So you talked about money market. A victim of that. I thought I'm actually investing. Maybe break it down for for OVAReactors who are listening in, and they're like, okay, I put maybe like 500 on there, and I'm just expecting that good interest. But basically, that's not it. So high yield investments. Where do I start?
So I think with investing, the first thing is that understanding the difference between investing and saving. So it's totally okay to save, but you also have to invest.
What would you do the percentage? What would the percentage be?
That question for me is so personal. I think you have to personalize it. You have to you figure out what's important to you. So if you have, for example, you want to, I don't know, stop working at 40, you cannot save the same percentage as somebody who's comfortable waiting till 65.
Fire, baby.
Right? It's true. So it's about you and you. What do you want? What are your goals? So that's actually step one. Set goals. Set goals that are yours for real, that are not given to you by mom or shosho or Instagram, that are truly yours, that are values based.
I like that. I like how everything is personalized. There's no cookie cutter way of doing anything.
Yeah.
So literally, we all have our own vision boards for the financial goals that we want to reach. Just to piggyback off of what Lush had talked about earlier, there are unique challenges that women face when it comes to money, and one of them is financial cheating. It's something that's not talked about enough. We see a lot of our Olympian champions face this, where again their money gets swindled by their husbands. But I mean, I think the simple pillars that you put out there are just those basic things that they can implement on a day-to-day basis to help them set boundaries. Like, what is important when setting financial boundaries, especially in relationships?
And that one is deep.
I feel like I'm watching myself. Is it?
It's deep because honestly, also when you're in love, you're not rational. You're not doing what you're taught to do.
We do love an injustice, by the way. Continue.
Love is blind, even when it comes to money.
It's true. It's true, especially when it comes to money. So how do you set boundaries? I guess the first thing is educate yourself, empower yourself, so you can ask the right questions and you can participate. I think that's the most important thing. So you don't feel intimidated by the idea of looking at a budget, looking at an investment, buying a piece of land, just empowering yourself with that knowledge. And then I think taking responsibility. We have to change this narrative that managing money is the man's job.
Yeah.
It's a partnership, And in order for it to be a partnership, you have to show him that you can bring something to the table. So I think that's what I would say. It's empower yourself so that you are able to enforce your boundaries in a sort of credible way.
I think I'll add to it by saying my cousin always told me, give money that you're willing to lose. When you give it, just be okay that you'll never get it back. If you get, let's say you borrow, I'll only give you 5k. Because if you don't give me, it's fine. I can live without it. I can get that 5k easy. Don't give money that you can't get easily back, and you're gonna every time you see me, I see you on your Instagram living your best life in that $1,000 travel holiday, and you owe me money.
You're like,
so,
what are you doing?
So give money, and I thought that was such a good rule to go by, because then I give what I'm comfortable giving. Like, I'm giving with no conditions. Yeah, and then also another thing is, if I am giving you money, is asking, so what's the plan? What's your contingency plan of paying me back? Have it in writing, especially if it's a lot, so that if ever you found yourself in like a legal whatever situation, But I found that one for give what you're willing to lose makes you even stop and say, actually, I can't give you.
I think my question would be, there are all these new get rich quick kind of fixes. You know, I have a katenda nipatie 1,000, I'll give you with CG 100 bob on top. And unfortunately, I've been a victim shamelessly. No, and you talked about like agreement. I didn't have an agreement until today, 2 years down the line. I have not seen my money. I've not seen my interest. But unfortunately, I don't have the legal way to go about it. So that was a stupid investment. Let's talk about strategic investment. So we are not investing in money market 2024. You talked about land. So what are those practices, or what are those strategic investment opportunities that we can tap into, especially as women? Say, for example, you're earning, let's say, 100,000 or 200,000. Where do you start? Like something safe but still high yield.
So let me first start by saying it's not about not investing in money market funds. It's about using them the right way. And so I think when you're thinking about investing, the first mindset shift that has to happen is time. It takes time for your investments to yield results. So the biggest thing that I would say is start by shifting your mindset about how much time you're giving things to grow for you. That's how you don't get into the trap of, 10 in 6 months. Because if you're investing for 10 years and you're only investing even 30K a month, you'd be surprised by how much you can end up with at the end. It could be in the 30s of millions, 30 million, 50 million, depending on your strategy. So in terms of strategic investments, so our philosophy as Africa's Pocket is that you invest in a diversified portfolio, like you mentioned. So that means that you're investing in a couple of different assets. There's no perfect investment. But what you have is an investment strategy that gets you a certain result. So let me give the example of you're trying to lose weight. A lot of people will come and be like, oh, I'm trying to lose 5 kgs. What's the best exercise? That's kind of the same question you're asking when you're asking what's the best investment. Is the answer squats? Is it push-ups? Is it crunches? The answer is that there's a full program that you have to go through, that you change your nutrition, you exercise this many times a day, you sleep well, it's a combination of things. So with investments, it's the same. What I would say is that in Kenya, the way you can figure out what a good return is by checking what the government is paying for the same time horizon that you're investing for. So say you're trying to invest in a house in 10 years, what you need to check is how much is the government paying for a bond that's 10 years away, that's going to mature in 10 years. If the answer is 13%, then you look for investments that give you 13% or more.
Wow. Resources, where can I...
Where is that information available?
Africa's Pocket. Okay. That information is available on the Central Bank of Kenya's website, so you can find out the rate. But that's what I'm saying, educating yourself, empowering yourself is the first step.
Yeah. As we're approaching the end of 2023 and we're planning for 2024, what are the top tips that I should think about as we think about a vision board? For those who are watching and listening, speak to our overreactors, things that they need to, especially with the economy, the rate is rooking, and it's a global thing, right? It's not just a Kenyan thing. Inflation prices, they don't seem to be looking like they're shifting. Do I not buy a car because now petrol is high? Like, how do we, in terms of speak to our mindset, speak to our tangible practices?
So going into next year, so the first thing I'd say is everybody needs a rainy day fund. Emergencies will happen. So start there. try and save up 6 months, try and get to a year. It can take some time, but try and get to a year of expenses. Then the second thing everyone has to do is save for retirement. We don't want to end up in a situation where you're getting 8K per month. So start thinking about your retirement so that the people who come next don't have to support you and you can break this curse. Then the stuff in between, be realistic and be honest about truly what's important to you. Not what's important to your mom, not what's important for Instagram. A good example is a lot of people don't really want homes anymore. Yet everyone is like, yeah, I want to buy this house with a garden somewhere. Then they're also telling you, I want to travel for 6 months of the year. You see, those two things don't make sense.
Right.
Yeah.
They don't
Doesn't add up.
Yeah, it doesn't add up. So it's like truly set goals that are for yourself, and then work backwards from those goals. So it's like if you need this much every year to travel, then you save based on that. If you want in 5 years to take a break from work, do the math and save based on that. And the math is not hard. Empower yourself to understand how to do it. It's not hard.
I think I have one last question. Sorry. I feel like as women we're not good at negotiating. Can you speak on that? Like because you said something about salary earlier.
Income, yeah.
So even from either working for someone or even knowing my worth in terms of, like, for instance, I'll use myself as an example. So outside of this, I am building my myself as a global moderator and MC. How do I get better at positioning myself as what I know I'm worth, because I know what I can give to that role?
That's such a great question. I struggle with this as well. And it's very easy for me. So from my context is we raise money and we have a valuation for the business. It's very easy for me to be like, oh, it's okay, I'll take less, I'll take a smaller valuation because I need the money today. Actually the most important thing that I've done that's helped me is surround myself with men who mentor me and are like, Val, what are you doing? Those men who say they're buying a 20 million house and they don't even have 1 million shillings. Those guys, they push me to be bold. And I know that's a controversial thing to say, but men are your allies. Yeah.
Interesting. I was listening to a podcast and they were talking about value creation. That's where we start. I think it's the Think Rich, Napoleon Hill's book that talks about value. What that value do you have to offer as Lush, as a moderator, to the world, that you have to put a price tag and everyone will buy it. That's like thinking money making from that point of view has changed my life, and I think that's the energy I'm going with into 2024. And I think as women, we need to know our value. By every fiber of your being that you can be a global moderator, no doubt. But we're all about bold moves and bold women coming with us towards our dreams. We are behind you, cheering you on. I think you were talking about income. As we go to 2024, how do I start envisioning opportunities for money making? Because we have to have multiple income streams going forward, and I think that's where it starts, right?
Yeah.
So how do I start seeing, okay, money? Yeah.
I think it goes back to something we were talking about earlier and what you just said around value creation. So everything that people pay for is because you're solving a problem for them. So the first thing is becoming very crystal clear on what problem do I solve for people.
I am a problem solver. I'm getting affirmations for you girls.
Yes.
Yeah, so it's like, what problem am I solving for people? And then how can I help them understand how good I am at solving that problem, so I can demand a higher price tag for the solution I'm providing.
Price tag.
Yeah.
Ooh,
what's my price tag?
$1 million.
I like that. I am the problem solver and I am the one.
Yes.
Period.
And I'm the best.
Yeah.
So therefore you should pay me the most.
Yes. I'm the best, so that way you should pay me. Put that on a t-shirt, Angela. Put that on a t-shirt.
I got you. I'm manifesting these money moments.
Yeah.
So as we, get ready to wrap up, Val, just tell us, I guess, what is that one bold statement you want to leave our listeners and our overreactors with when it comes to making money moves?
I think my my statement is that it's possible. You can start very small. You can start with even 10K a month and build up to becoming a millionaire. It's possible. There's strategy that you can follow. There's maths that can help you out. Just empower yourself to figure out how to do it. And because you're going to invest for such a long time, you know, if you start in your 30s, you're going to invest till you're in your 50s, maybe 20 years, yeah? So taking a year to learn is nothing. It's a drop, you know, a drop in the bucket. So just empower yourself.
You heard it, ladies. Keep walking. Keep walking. Financial independence is possible. That's what I'm hearing. Yeah. And it doesn't have to happen tomorrow. You have to be very intentional. And the power of compounding. It's amazing. I'm ready to get rich.
I think just change impossible, put an apostrophe and say I'm possible. So thank you very much for this conversation. And we'd love to have you again and have you in more of our events. By the way, Val was our Hills Connect guest speaker and she was awesome. Please, just before we leave, how can people get to know about Africa's Pocket? Share your information.
Yeah, you can find us on Instagram at Africa's Pocket, and our website is africaspocket.com.
Awesome. Great. You can join us next time for more bold conversations around money, around everything that's, you know, women empowerment and progressive portrayal of women. It's been amazing having this conversation. I just want to get out of this studio and go make money.
Yeah, I love it. You're making money in this studio, though. You just didn't know it.
Oh, yes.
Thank you for tuning in. We'll be back again out in Capital FM on Wednesday at 10 p.m. And you can also catch this episode, watch it or listen to it via YouTube on Capital FM or SoundCloud for Capital FM, or Sister Speaks Global's podcast platform on Google, Spotify, and Apple.
And you can interact and follow us on Instagram at OVAReact and Sister Speaks 254 and on TikTok as well. So this is where the bold conversation happens and we keep moving and we keep walking.
And of course, this episode has been proudly sponsored by Johnny Walker, a bold drink to be enjoyed in moderation. Drink responsibly, for sale to persons under the age of 18. Don't drink and drive. Drink better, not more.
We have been comfortable doing so. As you see on set, everything that you see is from Oka Deco. They currently have a 30% discount. It's a spirit of giving. So go out there, think about yourself or think about others. I'm also available if you want to give a gift. It's your girl, Lush Angela. It has been indeed a pleasure.
And it's your girl, Mo Mohoya. I wish you happy holidays and keep walking.
It's your girl, Angela Wimboy, and let's manifest more money moments in 2024.
Ladies,
let's overreact.